Rarely have we seen a takedown of a league commissioner as calmly or efficiently delivered. The fact that it came from Napheesa Collier, one of the league's best players and most respected voices, only amplified its impact.
Scott Van Pelt just took the WNBA Commissioner to school, and honestly, it wasn't even close. On ESPN, SVP calmly dismantled Cathy Engelbert's leadership, or lack of it, and fans everywhere are buzzing. When one of the most respected voices in sports delivers a takedown like that, it matters. Question for you. Is it time for Cathy Engelbert to go?
The response from WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert came in the form of a statement, which is itself a statement, but not one Engelbert should aspire to make. When a star player says directly, "We have the worst leadership in the world and you are the leader," your response that you're disheartened that your perspectives differ makes me wonder if you heard what Fee said. Because it's not differing perspectives. It was a direct call for your job.
Let's set the stage. The WNBA has been in the spotlight like never before, thanks to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Bucher's hype, and all the noise surrounding this year's wild season. But instead of building momentum, what's the headline? Not record ratings, not a great finals matchup. Nope, it's Scott Van Pelt on ESPN torching the commissioner, Cathy Engelbert. And he did it in that classic Van Pelt way. Calm, surgical, almost polite, but underneath absolutely devastating.
Collier said, "I've earned this platform," which she has, and said, "I don't care what the fine is," which, if I hear her correctly, is to say you have nothing to threaten me with. The chorus of voices of current stars in the WNBA, which echo Collier's sentiment, didn't have a single opposing voice.
Why? Because Napheesa Collier lit the fuse earlier this week. Her exit interview basically called the league leadership the worst in professional sports. And she didn't just throw shade, she flat out exposed a private conversation where Engelbert allegedly said Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the WNBA, because without it, she wouldn't be making money. Excuse me? What? Did Cathy Engelbert miss the entire Iowa era? Did she miss Clark's NIL empire that dwarfed what most WNBA vets make in a season before she even declared for the draft?
As for what Engelbert is alleged to have said to Collier, if she actually suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court, that's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost.
SVP honed in on that. He pointed out something that's so obvious but apparently flew right over the commissioner's head. Caitlin Clark is the rising tide lifting the WNBA, not the other way around. The league is benefiting off Clark more than Clark is benefiting off them. And Van Pelt dropped the receipts. ESPN's own highest ratings after college women's basketball? Tied to Caitlin Clark. The All-Star game? Clark drew more eyes than anyone. And yet the commissioner is out here implying Clark should bow down and say thank you? That's not just tone-deaf, it's flat-out delusional. Then SVP really sharpened the knife. He didn't yell, he didn't rant, he just laid it out.
Post from Elena Deladon on Instagram, who said, and I quote, "It's the care for the human part for me. I'm not sure Cathy knows I've retired. Heard from everyone but her. And I don't like to pile on, that's not my thing. But when a player is beloved, respected, and decorated as Deladon retires as a multiple MVP, league champion, 7-time All-Star, and member of the W25, which celebrated the top 25 players in the league's first 25 years, you throw that woman a parade. To fail even the most basic and decent things to do, which is to reach out to say thanks, which, by the way, couldn't be easier to do, is to fail the most basic and..."
He brought up Elena Del Don. This is a multiple-time MVP, a league champion, one of the top 25 players in WNBA history. She retired recently. Do you know what she said? That she heard from everyone, fans, players, coaches, except Cathy Engelbert. Read that again. One of the most respected veterans in league history retires, and the commissioner can't even send a text. That's not leadership. That's negligence. Scott Van Pelt called it exactly what it is: a failure to perform the most basic, decent duties of the job. Reach out. Say thank you. Celebrate your stars. It costs nothing. And it tells the players you actually care. But Cathy couldn't be bothered. And then, when called out, she responds with a bland statement about being disheartened and committed to collaboration. SVP nailed it. This isn't about differing perspectives. This is about the commissioner being called out directly as the problem.
According to Sportico, franchise valuations have soared. Players want more money, and the CBA expires at the end of this month. This was a whole lot more than just a shot across the bow. The WNBA Finals begin this Friday, and we typically hear from Adam Silver on the eve of the NBA Finals. Cathy Engelbert has got to do more than say she's disheartened.
Now, here's the part that makes it worse. There's not one voice, not one, that has come out to defend Engelbert. Not a player, not a coach, not even some random intern tweeting for the league office. Nothing. Instead, what we've seen is a chorus of players echoing Collier's words. Lexi Hull backed her up. Sophie Cunningham flat-out blasted Engelbert as the most delusional leader our league has seen. Even Gino Auriemma, who rarely agrees with anybody, said the so-called physicality of the WNBA is ruining the game. When everyone from rookies to Hall of Fame coaches is saying the same thing, you've got a problem. And here's the kicker. Van Pelt pointed out that this isn't just noise. This isn't just a spicy soundbite. This is happening right before the CBA negotiations. The collective bargaining agreement is up, and the players have had enough of being underpaid, ignored, and told to be grateful. When one of your biggest stars calls the league the worst leadership in the world, and another, respected vet, says she's proud of her for speaking out, that's not business as usual. That's a full-on rebellion. Scott Van Pelt gets it. He said, "This was not just a shot across the bow. This was Collier basically telling the league, fix it or we'll blow it all up." And that's not hyperbole. The players have leverage now. Caitlin Clark isn't some average prospect. She's a walking economy. She brings in sponsorships, TV ratings, and ticket sales that the WNBA has never seen before. And if Engelbert really believes the league is bigger than the players driving that revenue, she's either completely out of touch or willfully blind. Now let's talk about the officiating, because this is where and Van Pelt didn't let the Caitlin Clark angle slide either. He called out the absurdity of saying Clark owes her success to the WNBA. Everyone knows it's the opposite. Clark's brand was massive before she ever set foot in the league. Her NIL deals, her TV ratings, her ticket sales at Iowa, they all prove that. She brought that value with her. The WNBA didn't build Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark boosted the WNBA. To downplay that is not just foolish, it's self-sabotage. SVP also highlighted something subtle but powerful: unanimity. Not a single player came out to defend Engelbert. Instead, more and more voices piled on, from Lexi Hull to Sophie Cunningham to vets across the league. Even coaches like Cheryl Reeve and Becky Hammon have been fined for criticizing the league's officiating and leadership. When the criticism is this widespread and the response is this weak, it's a recipe for disaster. Now, let's talk about optics, because Van Pelt knows how much that matters in sports. Right before the finals, instead of hype around the matchup, the story dominating headlines is "Players rip commissioner, coaches fined," and "Stars call leadership the worst in sports." That's not building excitement, it's building resentment. SVP made it clear, you cannot have this level of public discontent without accountability at the top. And here's where Scott really drove it home. He said the league is at a flashpoint. Franchise values are skyrocketing. Expansion is on the table. Media rights are worth billions. This is supposed to be the WNBA's golden era. Instead, the commissioner is under fire, players are angry, and fans are wondering if they can even take the league seriously. That's not sustainable. That's not leadership. That's a failure to capitalize on momentum that should be historic. The way SVP phrased it was brutal in its simplicity. He said, "When a player like Napheesa Collier says, 'We have the worst leadership in the world,' that's not a perspective. That's a direct call for your job." And he's right. You can't spin that. You can't hide from it. You either prove them wrong with action or you resign. And here's the uncomfortable truth that Van Pelt danced around but everyone knows. Adam Silver is watching. The NBA subsidizes the WNBA. The NBA props it up financially. And Silver has a vested interest in making sure the WNBA doesn't implode. If ESPN personalities like Stephen A. Smith and Scott Van Pelt are openly questioning the commissioner's future, how long before Silver steps in and makes a move? Fans are connecting the dots. The officiating is terrible. The commissioner doesn't communicate with players. Injuries are piling up. Stars are retiring without acknowledgement. Players are fined for speaking the truth. And now, Caitlin Clark, the Golden Goose, is being dragged into controversy because Engelbert decided to minimize her value. It's like the league is tripping over its own feet at the very moment it should be sprinting forward. SVP wasn't just analyzing, he was sending a warning. Fix this, or risk losing everything you've built. And honestly, he's right. If the WNBA can't keep stars healthy, if it can't protect players from bad officiating, and if it can't even celebrate its legends, why should fans believe the league is serious about growth? That's why Van Pelt's takedown resonated so strongly. He didn't rant. He didn't scream. He didn't make it about himself. He calmly laid out the facts, and the facts were devastating. Collier's words. Del Don's retirement. Clark's value. The officiating crisis. The silence from leadership. Put it all together, and it paints a picture of a league being sabotaged by its own commissioner. And the reaction online proved it. Fans were nodding along. Players were retweeting Collier's comments. Even casual viewers who don't normally follow the WNBA were saying, "Wow, this is a mess." And when your reputation is that damaged, a press release about being disheartened isn't going to cut it. Scott Van Pelt didn't scream, didn't rant. He simply told the truth, and it stung. When players, fans, and ESPN's biggest voices all agree the WNBA has a leadership crisis, it's impossible to ignore. So what happens now? Does Cathy Engelbert step down, or does Adam Silver push her out? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.